In quantum causation, the mathematics of this, and by the way, I do not understand quantum mechanics or quantum physics. Those are the same term. I do not understand this at all. I lost track of reality when we encountered algebra, okay? For me, the word cosine, is that algebra or is that geometry? Trigonometry. Oh, that one was even worse, yeah. Cosine is what your parents do if they help you buy a house. The word cosine has no intrinsic emotional significance for me, okay? But in the quantum mathematics, so it is said by people who write books for people like me, and bless them all. But by the way, there's a publisher rubric that the number of copies that a book about quantum physics will sell is inversely proportional to the number of graphs and equations in the book, right? And I can attest to that because you go thumb through and go, oh, math. Oh, quantum physics for English majors, thank you very much. In the mathematics of quantum causation, time moves both ways equally well. This would really complicate the experience of being human if we had to sort that out. Right? And in the mathematics of quantum physics, the future, that which will be, which is only an impression we have from within linear time, but here we are, so we're going to work with it. We're going to talk about it as if it's real, because for us it is truly real. In quantum mathematics, the future creates the present against a backdrop of the past. Now, this is not the world we live in, right? But for just a moment, if you would put your attention onto that outcome or that experience that you would like to have, please put your attention on a future version of you who is having that experience. Take a moment and notice your impression of that future version of you. If you can find that future version of you, and if you can, I invite you to just temporarily suspend all of your reasonable faculties. Please put your attention on that future version of you. In your mind's eye, we'll come to this in just a few minutes, it's quite important to make a picture of that future version of you. So please step into that person. Look through their eyes. Find their lungs and diaphragm with your lungs and diaphragm and breathe with them a little bit, please. Imagine that this whole thing is up to them, not you. Wouldn't that be a relief? Right? Because we know they're going to be there. We know they're going to be having the experience that you're reaching for and imagining right now, and they totally owe you and they're going to be spending your money. Right? So let us offload, just as a concept, please, some of the work to the future self, whose job it is to imagine us in present time, imagining it in so-called future time, which is, of course, is its present time. And then if you would, come on back to your body for just a second. Would you cast your attention back into your past, please? More than a little bit for most of us, like way back. And if you care to put your attention for just a moment on something that was particularly difficult or particularly painful. And I want to make a couple of points about that. One is that for your nervous system, that experience is happening right now. We'll come to that in a little bit. For your nervous system, that experience is happening right now. If you can imagine it, it's happening right now. And our nervous system responds as if it is happening right now. And part of the magic of this transformational neuro-linguistic programming toolbox is being able to change the right now, right then. We'll come to that in a little bit too. The other thing I would like you to notice, if you would, is who, for whom is that past version of you reaching? Perhaps with desperation, perhaps with panic. For whom is that past version of you having some hope, trying to hold on to some hope to eventually become? Here you are. for just a moment, please allow that past version's future, which is us here right now, please allow that future to unfold a path for that past so we arrive right here. Now, that's a very small kind of conceptual task, but it's extraordinarily significant. It lets us redo and redo and redraw and revise our experience of reality. And it brings us more and more into alignment with who we really are. So, what determines our reality is our attention. You were just putting your attention on future and past. Our attention most naturally falls right here, but except we think about the past and the future all the time. But what determines our reality is our attention. There is non-local attention, which is the job of our nervous system. Or correction, there is local attention, the job of our nervous system, and non-local attention, the job of our imagining and our spirit, where it connects into whatever gives rise to this universe. Here's the problem, though. Back to our every person resisting this crushing experience. This person's nervous system has their attention on what? That young man, his attention is very much on the boulder, right? The operation of his brain and his survival patterning is definitely resisting that boulder. If our attention is what lets the universe know what it is we would like to experience, as far as a mirroring universe can tell, this young man wants to experience this boulder. And there's another tricky thing that happens here. If we go to the non-local quantum version of reality, the operation of that nervous system attention on resisting being crushed, sensibly so, wouldn't you say? The operation of that nervous system's attention on not being crushed continually signals a mirroring universe that there's a boulder, there's a boulder, there's a boulder, there's a boulder. What are we supposed to do? Ignore the boulder? No. He could perhaps find some meditative posture that would allow him to still hold back the boulder and begin to convince himself the boulder is not there. Right? I'm not here, and the boulder isn't about to crush me. This is an intervention that is recommended in some ways, and it does have some beautiful aspects to it, but it puts attention on the boulder. If he gets up and leaves, he says there is no boulder, he's probably not going to get very far. At least that is how it will feel to him. So in the Newtonian model, there's an out there and our senses collect the information. In the quantum model, there's no inherent out there, and what we are observing for is what we are going to observe. Now, there's a word for what we are observing for in plain English, and that's beliefs. So in the Newtonian world, our beliefs are assessments of what's already there, and we reach some critical conclusions about it, and we decide that the world is such and such a way, and I, in that world, I am such and such a way, and therefore, so and so, okay? Quantumly, that functionality of belief, and we all know how to pay attention to belief one way or another. Many of us have studied it a whole lot. In the quantum world, that function of belief is what tells the universe how to be, what it should be. And all it does is say, okay, and mirror it back. And then the Newtonian self takes over and says, oh my gosh, I have to resist this is going to destroy me. And the mirroring universe says, okay, and the nervous system, concluding that it's successfully keeping us alive, continues to resist the boulder. Either way we go, Newton or quantum, the boulder is there. What to do about that? That's what we want to do this evening as we go along. Here is a scientific concept. This is my explanation for why being human is so hard. We are the white stuff in the middle of the Oreo, right? We live in a 2-cookie planet. And the cookies produce the same experience. This is the really interesting thing about it. The bottom cookie is our meat suit-based, nervous system-based, beautifully evolved, gorgeously effective nervous system, which scans for, detects threats and pain out there, and tries to resist the experience as best it can and keep itself alive. Here we all are, alive. We are successful in doing that. That's the bottom cookie. It is what we call survival patterning. The top cookie is a whole other domain. The top cookie starts to go kind of quantum. The top cookie is the operation of love. I know this is a fairly heretical statement, but the top cookie is the operation of love. We're going to come to in just a few minutes the most striking thing I have ever encountered or experienced in my life that became the basis for all the inquiry that I've had and all the inquiry of all the people I know and share values with and criteria with and curiosity with. We're going to come to the operation of that top cookie. What we're going to show you, or at least as best I can say to you, is that that top cookie operates to stabilize that pain in the middle as much as the bottom cookie. So it's fear and love. We've all heard that, right? There are two kinds of experience in the world. There's fear and there's love. Here they are. Out of love, we stabilize a lot of really painful experience. And out of fear, we stabilize a lot of really painful experience. So if we're not going to compromise our well-being and mess our lives up just because we're afraid, and being afraid has a bad reputation, right? Being afraid is not a cool thing to be. We're all supposed to be stepping past our fear and operating in spite of our fear. And our creature self just thinks this is hilarious if it has any sense that we're even here at all, right? But out of fear, we resist pain, and out of love, we reach for it. It's a particular kind of love. I will specify that. It's a particularly immature, particularly pristinely devoted form of love that actually I don't think any of us experience in day-to-day life quite exactly. But we'll come to that.